just like we do, and then we'll touch over some of the points on trading. So I'm gonna get this started now. We're recorded. Right.
Greetings, Mastermind traders. This is Dr. Kenneth Reed. The topic for this week is less is still more. The topic I've discussed in the past, but this will be new. Here's my advice. Do less, think less, trade less. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this short presentation. Just kidding. As Einstein once said, things should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And my advice about doing less, thinking less, and trading less is just too darn simple. Cutting through the complexity in order to optimize one's personal trading isn't simple, and simplistic good advice usually doesn't help. Tough problems often require an elegant solution as opposed to a simplistic or a brute force solution. The simplistic solution, like good advice, just falls flat. Try it on your spouse, you'll see what I mean. Brute force solutions, on the other hand, which are about trying harder, have their own problematic side effects. Aggressive strategies lead to fights with the market that one will never win. Trading becomes very costly when the tactics we use actually make the problem worse. For example, I had a consultation yesterday with a young software engineer who sounded very rational on the phone. But he confessed that if he takes a few small losses in a row, he gets angry, abandons his rules, and trades like a wild man. So after losing $100, instead of quitting, he goes on to lose $1,000. In poker, they have a name for it. It's called tilt. In trading, there are two types of tilt, I think. One type of tilt is what we call the bar fight, as described above, just losing it. The other type is the trading trance. Trading trance is like a bad dream, never-ending slow-motion struggle where we lack the necessary tools or weapons to succeed. Whereas brute force results in quick account blowups, a trading trance can run on and on for years, resulting in a slow grind down. Sooner or later, however, most of us come to the realization that our default solution is more of a problem than the losses that trigger it. We realize that we've been caught in a catch-22 of our own making, and that insight usually comes in a flash. I remember the exact moment it hit me. And when I consult with traders, many report having the same sudden moment of awakening. It's an opening like a doorway. It's absolutely necessary for success, but it's not enough. After taking full responsibility for our own mental emotional state, we then need to apply an elegant solution that makes us more effective in real time. In mathematics, an elegant solution is usually a meta solution, like finding a bird's eye perspective that adds a third dimension to a flat 2D problem. Imagine you're standing on the board and you're the same height as the chess pieces. Weird, eh? Then imagine suddenly getting a 3D view. This shift is the pattern-based perspective of a grandmaster. Good advice like do less, think less, trade less is difficult to apply because it doesn't elevate us above the 2D plane. It's a quantitative solution to a 2D problem, reduce your interactions, that keeps us in flatland. We need a qualitative solution that actually elevates our fundamental perspective. In a recent Mastermind video, I discussed the value of heuristic thinking, which means simply using rules of thumb, thinking in patterns. Patterns are meta information. They exist on top of the myriad random details of price action, like a sailboat on the sea. Thinking in patterns empowers us to cut through the waves of detail and make real progress. I believe it's the most effective way to eliminate both forms of tilt, the bar fight and the trading trends. Of course, this is a nice theory, but how can we make this shift in our real-time trading? Here's my answer. I suggest you adopt a one-sentence trading plan. Seriously, to get yourself out of the water and into the boat. Why just one sentence? Well, because studies show that multitasking is mostly an illusion. When it comes to executing complex tasks in time-limited situations, like trading, our minds operate best in a more compartmentalized manner. The mind wants to use rules of thumb because it doesn't have time to process all the details and make up an individualized response. In trading, this means that our performance will be degraded if we try to hold more than one pattern or setup in mind at a time. If you have half a dozen setups and half a dozen indicators on your chart, and you're looking at half a dozen markets, you'll most likely be a lagging indicator yourself. In other words, a great hindsight trader. You'll constantly miss the obvious. And missing the obvious is one of the most powerful tilt triggers. That's the catch-22. Because when we miss the obvious trades, we start chasing the unpredictable, difficult, and dramatic moves. By the way, if we can't formulate our method or setup in one sentence, we probably have a theory, not a method. And you can't practice a theory, which is why analysts don't make money. If you want to be able to read and react to the market more effectively in real time, repeat the following acknowledgments and affirmations after me and take the indicated action steps. I know it's essential for my long-term success to avoid going on tilt while trading. This means taking full responsibility for my mental, emotional state. In addition, I need to become highly efficient at recognizing opportunities in real time. To increase the odds of success, today I will experiment with trading just one setup and mastering it. And to make things as simple as possible, I'll define this setup in one sentence. I'm certain that practicing perfect execution of this one setup will help me master it, and mastery leads to profits.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna actually just kind of go through a couple of other things. So every morning, the reason why we do this exercise is really before we start trading. You should have a routine for your trades, and you should also have a more just routine in general. And this basically allows you to get comfortable with the day, because as a reminder, we don't have control over the market. And, the thing we want to do is start off with small wins and something that we can't control. And what we can't control is what we do when we wake up, and how we start the day, and how we actually approach the day. So, part of my mindset is having a trader affirmation. If you haven't created one yet, you probably should create one. To be successful in trading, you got to have the right mindset. And, whether it's including patience or one setup, one type of trade, the reason why we have the alligator or the bull is to basically give you a foundation of how you're going to trade and what strategy you're going to use, and, which strategy you're going to look for. over and over again. And so whether you're, short-term swing trading or day trading, you want to have some kind of consistency in how you approach the market. So, one of the things I do is I have a morning ritual overall, right? A morning ritual overall, but also include things that include trading. So I'll read my morning affirmation, and it really just prepares me what type of trader I am. And in life, you want to know, what type of person you're going to be successful. So this is my morning routine, which I read every morning. And if you don't have one, I can share this one with you, but it's better to kind of create your own. So this way it gets ingrained in your subconscious. Another thing you want to have is you want to have a checklist of things you want to do every morning. And so one of the things that, you can do every morning is just, put up a site. There's morning routines out there that different guys do. But one of the things that you want to have in your morning routine is actually, the day before. What time you go to sleep, or at least track it so you need to have rest before you start trading. In a 24-hour market, rest is, you have to account for that. And so that's where it's hard in crypto, is you have to account for when you're going to be trading or when you're not going to be trading. And it's almost, sustainable for 24 hours, 7 days a week, 360 days a year, for you to constantly be up. That's going to be a challenge. So sleep is important, and it starts the day before. So you almost want to plan your sleep cycles where, at certain times you get to bed at certain areas, and you'll realize, certain nights in trading, we'll suspect that the market's going to up and down. And so you actually plan your day with sleep in mind. So that starts the day before. And then, work out the body. If you don't get enough sleep and you're trying to trade, that's going to be harder to become more, disciplined to keep your ritual. So, having your body work out, because a lot of trading is mental. You also want to have a healthy body and also a healthy mind. And because part of trading is being disciplined, or being able to think and be calm under pressure. So, working out the body, exercising the mind. Anytime we're trading, we are exercising the mind. So, you want to make sure that your mind is sharp, because, trading does require you to think and make rash decisions in split seconds. So, here it's saying that you can try a breathing technique to actually exercise the mind. And, a lot of guys have mindfulness. And, for me, starting up my routine, I have a checklist of things that I do when I wake up. And that's kind of in my morning formula. So, really for me, drinking lemon water, going outside, breathing for mindfulness, reading my morning formula, affirmations, and daily principles. That's something I do right when I wake up. And so even this call is a identifier of trying to at least have a routine. And, every Monday morning at 6 a.m., Pacific Standard Time, we try to have the same call, so you can get, as a reminder to focus on your mindset, approaching the day. During meditation, one way to meditate is to allow whatever comes in your brain to come, not trying to control everything. And so, where it says here, stop trying to quiet your mind, and if you have something you're thinking about, you have to deal with it so you can move past it. And that is think take, when you have meditate, but it's okay to have those thoughts. A lot of guys, when they meditate, whatever thought comes in their mind, they'll allow come, and then they'll say, all right, you can pass. And this way they can go to the next thought. Reading, or, the reason why I post trading news is, readings give me information, but it's also giving me the ability to deal with, ideas that come around trading. So you'll have, you're not just jumping in the market all of a sudden and then jumping out. You want to have, you want to prepare your mind to actually process information you're looking at. So a lot of times reading crypto news, it is important to, stay involved, to actually read something around crypto. Okay. And then, when it comes to lists, I actually have a template for things I read that could impact price. You want to list those down. You want to list things within a month, and that's where our Mastermind report comes in. Even the video, you want to rewatch that and take your own notes, so this way your mind is processing some of the information. And then, for me, I never read email or social media first thing in the morning, because those are not my thoughts. That is other thoughts. So I want to go through my morning routine before I fill my information with things external. I want to make sure I'm prepared, internal in my own mind for, the things that I have on my to-do list, or the things that, that I'm preparing for, such as trading, to-do lists. Those are things you can't control. All right, those you can't control. So, two things that we've done this morning was, Mastermind programming, which is, if you got anything out of that, it says if you can't describe your trading in one sentence, you need to simplify it. And then second is, habits of what you can do to control the things you can and accept the things you cannot, which is, when the market is moving erratically, you have no control over that. We have to have a response, and you don't want to respond irrational to those changes outside. And a morning formula for your entire life is very much recommended. Trading is a part of life. It can benefit you if you apply it correctly, and it also can identify when you're sporadic. So I'm gonna go over let me pull up one more. Have to renew my account. All right. So Office 365. All right. So, just go over a couple of things that we've been over before on, being a good trader. And one is discipline, that it's always at the top of the list, not allowing losing trades to affect your emotional state. And then stay focused when under pressure. There's always, it's always pressure to handle in life. And so discipline, you have to have a set of rules that you're going to kind of imply. So this way, when things do get tough, you can actually lean back on the rules that you have. Secondly, if you're going to be trading, you're going to treat it as you treat it as a business. So, one losing trade or a trade, that's just a business expense. That's part of doing business. No one out there wins 100% of the time. And, there's pressure to, be perfect. And it's not going to happen. There's no one out there that wins 100% of the time. So another thing is your trading capital. Trying to keep some of the capital. It's important so you can come back to the market. You don't want to blow your entire account on one trade, because then you will not be able to trade anymore. So, trading capital and what you start with and what you keep is really important. Trading journal, it allows you to identify your own personal trading, wins and losses. What causes you to react, what causes, so you'll realize that it's something personal, even outside of, what we're doing of what causes you to lose. There's traders that can listen to calls and listen to trades, but they're have other demands outside of trading that's causing them to react. So in your trading journal, you'll actually start, identifying things that causes you to make certain decisions, and in that trading journal, you'll be able to reflect that over time. Wednesdays is a day that it's always been hard, just because in the stock market and in futures, that's when the most amount of news come out that affect their prices. All the different reports, economic indicators, Fed speaking, it's normally on a Wednesday. So on top of that, just having those news and not knowing what they're going to say, it has caused me in the past to be hesitant, or and I understand that because I had a trading journal. Okay, then remaining focused. A lot of people in trading, they want to identify that they're in control, or they have a big ego of not accepting that they do take a loss, and then they go on tilt where they're basically chasing it and reacting to things that don't go their way. So for some, losing makes them act a certain way, and then winning makes them act a certain way. What you want to do is keep your ego in check, whether losing is part of it and winning is also a part of it. And you never master the market to the point where you're in control. So keeping the egos in check is important. Having willingness to change. When market conditions change, when, for instance, Trump made that tweet yesterday and the market just dropped all because of a tweet, you have to reassess the market and look at the market different. No one had any control over that. Historically, on Monday, for May, the Mondays hasn't been good, and it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy where, you have a tweet that actually causes a reaction in the market that causes it to be down. And, for crypto, we kind of expected it, but that was based on a plan. So you can actually change your strategy. The things that we plan out, it can change based on market conditions. The system doesn't change. We're still using alligator, we're still using Boo, but maybe our bias changed for that day. So, that is another important topic. Then patience. A lot of guys want to day trade every day. They want to control the market, and they don't have the patience to sit in a position even when they're down, because they're reacting to every bit of news and they forgot why they entered the trade. So chasing the market will always it'll cause you to lose out to the market, because you're not going to be, you may be successful 1 month, 1 day, or a couple of hours, but you're not going to be successful consistently in a 24-hour period, a 5-day period, a 7-day period, a 30-day period. So this is trying to create trades for the sake of trading. All right, and then last is the mental status. Successful people in general have a morning formula. A lot of successful people wake up at 5 or 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. They maintain that level of discipline and control to have a wake up routine. You do more in your day is the morning. So how you wake up and how you begin a day it's going to give you your first win or your first loss. So meditation is one way for you to get your thoughts together, because with all the amount of information coming in throughout the day, it's like, all right, what do you think? How are you going to handle it? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to handle the day. You're going to have to handle your trading. No one can do that for you. So with this call, I wanted to, make sure everybody stays motivated. Understanding why you're trading, understand, take this part of the training serious. because this is your first win. Everyone that made this call, you know, at 6 a.m. in the morning, you have a lot of people that, you know, start off why they can't. And, you know, congratulate yourself for even being here. So, you know, everybody's going to have a great week. And we're going to remember to reserve our capital. You know, you don't have to trade if you have funds and you're not sure or you're going to be busy. You know, at the end of the day, it's about capital preservation. And so this is a reminder. This entire call is a reminder, you know, that we do have control over our money. We have control over our morning. And, you know, part of it is to preserve it so you can continue to be in this game. So that being said, hope you guys enjoy your day. We'll have our coaching call tomorrow morning. We'll have a Wednesday call, and we'll be consistent. We'll be successful, and you know, we are what we like to be right now. All right, so talk to you guys later.